So I went to another meeting last night, and once again, the topic was about, prayer and meditation. And I had discussed, that I never really had done it before. It never really was something that I grew up with. It just wasn't in my routine, to, do prayers and do my meditation, things like that. And so, there are people there talking about how, their prayers aren't necessarily like the, normal way that you would think of prayers. Sometimes they do something that's very unorthodox, but it's their way of, making their constant contact with God that day. And so, one guy was talking about sometimes, his way of talking to God is just talking to his dogs. Like, what do? I don't understand. Like, what am I supposed to do about this? And he's just talking to his dogs. He's just talking out loud. And so that got me thinking, like, it doesn't have to be, that I'm talking to my higher power. It could just be that I'm talking, out loud and just, using like brutal honesty. It's about like just being honest with yourself and, just kind of laying all your cards out on the table. And like, it doesn't have to be like, you have to say a prayer, you have to say like the St. Francis prayer, which they definitely, talk about in the big book, but it could just be that like you're discussing your thoughts, you're discussing your mood, you're discussing how your feelings are and being honest about it for one time. I know in my drinking, I lied about everything. I lied about what was going on. I lied about my drinking. I lied about how I'm feeling. I wouldn't ever discuss like, why am I drinking? Am I bored? Am I depressed? Am I upset? And so it's just, laying all your cards out on the table to something. It could be your mirror talking to yourself. It could be your phone, while you're driving to work every day. It could be just, making that attempt daily to, try and understand that, I need to talk about my sobriety. I need to talk about, what I'm doing today to make me sober. What am I going to do in my day to prevent me from drinking? What am I going to do when I'm feeling the craving? And so that, to me was just like, oh, well, it's a different perspective, but I really enjoyed it because it doesn't have to be like the normal way that you would think of prayers. And so I really enjoyed that. It really made me start to think like, I don't have to follow everything to a T. I don't have to follow everything exactly how the book lays it out. I just have to do what works for me. It's not a one size fits all. It's not, we need to do exactly as they're saying. It just has to be, you need to find your interpretation of it. So I enjoyed listening to everybody. Once again, the same topic keeps coming up, and I'm like, holy God, like, how many times do I have to hear this? But it finally just now clicked. It finally just now got to the point that, like, maybe my higher power was like, you need to keep hearing this until it is just absolutely, like, ground into your head until you understand. Sometimes you do have to hear something from somebody else before you finally understand, like, what the meaning of it is. And I think I understand it now. I think I understand that, life doesn't have to be exactly like the standard, the normal, because everybody's different. Everybody has their own interpretation. Everybody has their own lives, and that's what makes, the world so beautiful, is that we are also different, but we are also same in some ways too. So it's going to be a good day today. It's actually Friday. Got a big 3-day weekend coming up, so I'm excited about that. I'm excited to, have a couple of days off, and the weekends are definitely a time that I would struggle, just because I would be bored around the house and, would have to do my daily chores, and no one likes to do chores sober. So it's going to be, an interesting weekend, but, my plan is to, sit down and make a to-do list of things that I have to do, but I'm going to try and break out the list into a way of the things that I have to do today and the things that I have to get done by the end of the week. Some things you kind of, they do sit in the back of your mind like, oh, I got to do that. I keep forgetting to do that. So I'm going to make a list of things. Okay, so today's Saturday. This is what I'm doing today. By Monday, I want to get this at least accomplished. So it's going to be a good weekend. It's going to be an interesting weekend. So I'm excited to see, how this weekend turns out. So I hope everybody else has a good weekend too.